Listen,
insomnia. Oh my God.
Quarantine gonna do two things to you. It's either gonna have you eating snacks or looking like a snack.
Hey.
And I'm trying to look like a snack.
She's so stupid.
Exactly.
You were talking about the fitness, and we're gonna take a break in just a second. But one of the things we have in common is all three of us did a workout TV program.
Oh,
all three of us did it, and so no, she did hip hop abs and 10-day. What was the other one?
I did a few. I did hip hop abs. My first one wasn't hip hop abs though. I think it was a 6 or 7 day fix.
Yeah, 6 days.
Then I did 6 day fix. Then I did hip hop abs, and then I did core to 4. Yeah. It was different. I did lose, but not like the hip hop abs. I was half of me. I went back to high school. I was like half of me. Like
we were looking at the.
You know what? This all ties in because what I would say is because I did Asylum with Sean T, and the thing is. Here's the thing the key thing, like we're looking at the workouts, but we know one of the biggest contributing factors to us reaching those was our meals was taken care of.
Yes.
Like 80% of that was the meals because it's like
system.
Yeah, it's what you put in your system, like that relationship with food, like all that kind of tie hand in hand. The relationship with the people in our personal lives, the relationship with food, like putting that fuel in us to take us to another level. Because like I've always worked out hard. Like if anything, I was like, Asylum's not gonna help. I'm a dude that goes in a gym and lift 400 pounds, but I never got, slim. I was always like bulky from football, and then literally I like gave it a shot and was just eating that food. Like the first week I was always eating nuts full of nuts because they was at every corner in New York. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go, being accountable, because you gotta weigh in every day and you don't want to be that person like, what you eating?
They were with my group, they were threatening to cut people. Because
they did that with us too, because we were early ones.
Quick enough. And they were like, no, we're cutting you. I remember, oh God, it was stressful. I'm trying to get the same thing. I see.
Yeah, I did the Brazil butt lift first and then did max 30 later. And like I said, like I was Googling like, okay, who is it? How do you get this food to my house? Like, how do I get them to feed me now so that I can, because it gives you a different measure of focus, because it takes a lot of the thinking out of it. A lot of the like, oh, well, I'm going to put some butter in here because I'm going to add this to it.
Like I am drinking some alcohol. Yes, I have. I do my brunches. But I know I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to sugar. No, but I'm addicted to, like, I love sugar. And I have a thing with, not getting so whole. We should get into the health thing too, because I have PCOS, the whole thing. And insulin, I retain it. So, and sugar. And even when I went and did hip hop abs and we were on that strict diet and had that food, the only thing I craved, 2 things I craved. Brownie. I wanted a brownie, and I wanted iced coffee, because I did it like towards the spring to summer. I wanted iced coffee with a lot of sugar. That's the only, and a bagel. That's only, other than that, I was like good with it. And on Fridays, that was my cheat day. I would get a brownie, and I lost wonderfully, but and I know sugar, it's that sugar thing. So I have my coffee every day with no sugar. I've been doing it for a week and a half. No sugar. It's interesting. Yeah. But I'm working at it.
Habits is so important. So that's the reason why, like now I'm like, you know what, Sunday got to be the only cheat day, because like I'm addicted to sugar to a certain extent. And then on an emotional level, a lot of the good memories I had with my pops was always revolved around like eating sweets. So if I'm sad, I want cookies, I want sweets. If I'm happy, I want cookies, I want sweets. That's my reward. So either way, it's kind of like my default habit to be like, oh, let me go get cookies and sweets because this is going to make me feel good. You know what? I just watched 45 on the news. I want cookies and sweets. You know what I mean? So
That's the cookie dough?
this is the Mr. Chubby cookies.
Okay,
But
so the cookie dough, is it a...
This is the world's best cookie dough.
I never heard of that.
So good.
Okay, I never heard of that.
No, you don't have snickerdoodle cookies in our face like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just respectful.
Like insomnia cookies. Insomnia, if you ever... Yo.
No. Are you about to eat you about to eat it in our face?
No, look, I'm over here on my
I thought we was family.
I want my green juice.
Family.
Green juice.
Listen,
insomnia. Oh my God.
Quarantine gonna do two things to you. It's either gonna have you eating snacks or looking like a snack.
Hey.
And I'm trying to look like a snack.
She's so stupid.
Exactly. That's what I'm going for.
Now, between like our workout Zooms at 5 a.m, I'm like, I'm calling y'all every name I've ever heard in my whole life.
Girl.
I can't have people talking about I'm looking like a chubby Sean T out here.
Oh.
Can't do it.
Why would you say that as I drink my water? Why?
Oh my God. That was a wonderful experience, though. I have to admit. Like,
he's a sweetheart. Like, he's good people.
But to see what the body is capable of doing, what you're capable of doing. But it's a life change. And like you said, it's what you put, what you put in.
It's what you put in.
It's what you put in. And that's how I figured. When I went through that, that's why I figured the sugar, I was just like, oh my God, that's the only thing. I didn't want hamburger. I didn't want French fries. I was okay.
Because the food was good. The food was actually good, and it was filling, and it was stuff that you would not normally eat together. But it was like, I like what you did there. Like,
I just didn't like them snacks, them little baby almonds,
like 3 slivers of almonds. Like,
they're giving us some little banana bread. We got banana bread on Sunday.
Oh, the time we got, it was a muffin. It was a muffin. We all like, we got a muffin?
Now we were in like the first group, so I was spoiled. We had like cheesecake, like vegan cheesecake, and like cookies and stuff like that.
No, I never had that.
But look, then as it progressed, because y'all did it after, they were like, okay, actually, no, we're not gonna give y'all sweets anymore. That's
I got it closer to the end of it, and it would be a random, like the muffin or little things. But
you'd be sitting in the corner eating a muffin, like,
oh my God, it was like crap. We were all like,
apples and almond butter was like tiramisu cake to me by the end of that.
God,
no, but wait,
like, we got almond butter and apples.
But here's the thing: I had never heard of sun butter before. I didn't know sun butter was a thing, and I was in there like, yo, is this stuff called sun butter? And then you dip your apple in it, sunflower seeds, and you be explaining food like you've never eaten anything in life before, and it's like,
it was so good. But yeah.
But it's great to do it because you realize, like every year, like for like a week or a month, I'll go vegan just to kind of switch things up, just because I feel like it helps you really define your relationships with the things we kind of create. And I remember going through Asylum, the biggest thing is like simple things like making moderation of like mustard, using mustard instead of ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're doing it, you realize
has a lot of sugar in it.
Exactly. You don't really take that into account. You're like, oh wow, like it's the sugar. All these different things that we're eating, that we're craving, that's putting on the weight is sugar. And you get to a point in life sometimes you're like, oh, I'm never gonna get back in that shape. And what's insane is that you get in shape that you haven't been in for 2, 3, 5, maybe 10 years in like 60 days. You know what I mean? Like, and it's because it goes to show you two things. And I think this deals with relationships and a lot of other different things, is that it's their environment. Like everybody in there wants to change. And then it becomes their environment that you need to change, that we need to eat better. That's why, like, when you get your first weigh and you're like crying. I don't care how big of a person I'm like, oh my God. Because you realize that weight is like, it's more than just weight. It's emotional, it's spiritual, it's a lot of different connections. It's everything that told you you couldn't do this, or I would never, or I gotta accept being this weight now. And you start to like, even before you like, I don't know if I'm really losing pounds like that, and you wear those jeans you never wore in like 5 years, you're like,
what? Yeah.
oh my God.
Spinning class.
I told you when the before and after pictures.
Yeah.
And when I didn't think about it, because you know you're losing. We know we're weighing, we're looking, walking out in the street with less clothes on, because I'll be naked. I don't care. I'm like, I don't care.
Yes.
The weigh-in, and they turned and they showed the before picture. I was like, what the fuck? And I couldn't even, like, you're supposed to talk and say, oh, we did this. Everything just like internally just went in. And I just like, oh my God. So it's really emotional. Really.
You actually get to meet another person, another individual in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to realize that, because that's what's happening a lot in relationships right now. People are going to different things. If you are putting on weight, it's going to affect who you are as an individual. If you're losing weight, it's going to affect who you are as an individual.
And I don't think people take that into account. And I don't think any of us were prepared for that aspect of it, because it's like, I know when I get here, this is going to be different for me, and that's going to be different for me. I'm going to be like this. And then it happens so fast that you don't get a moment to like process like what's happening with you. Nope. It's like one day you wake up and your clothes don't fit. And it's like, you worked really hard to get there, but you've worked hard before. But just the process of doing it over that short time frame, like you have to mentally, because I like people that I know that did it after me, I was like, you have to mentally prepare and be conscious that, it's happening because a TV program is being created to sell a fitness program. But you are showing up every day because you want to do something different for you. And so I think like a lot of the pressure and a lot of the things that, like how to operate in this body that you haven't seen in a decade. Yeah. And so, and then also I think like the first time I did it, I was prepping to get married. And the second time I did it, it was after my grandmother passed and when my dad was sick. And so many days, because I was staying with Fab, sorry. And so many days, there was like so many things happening emotionally, and like being able to just cut all that stuff off and like go into the gym and be like, I'm gonna take this, 30 minutes for me. I'm gonna focus on what I need in this moment, and just that. All the rest of the world is quiet. And then whenever I come home and all the stuff is happening, so many days she was like, it's fine. Sit down, hand me wine. I was like,
no, I wasn't on the program.
She was like, here. She was like, yeah, because like it is really like a snapshot of a moment in time, because you have to just focus on the fitness aspect of it, because that's all they want you to do. It's like, you need to show up and do this.
When I did hip hop, I think I was working at Sephora. Didn't want to be there. Love the people, love my wonderful crew. Like I was in the village. I was just like, wonderful crew, so creative. But I didn't want to do it anymore. That's when I said I don't want to be a makeup artist anymore, because street court ended. I had to get a job. It was a whole thing of just getting a job.
Oh, wait, time out. Fab used to be the bailiff on a TV show. It was called Street Court. And so like people would send in their disputes and they would agree, but they would take it to the street, and the judge would meet them on the street. And so she was like,
I'm pulling up YouTube after this.
Huh? You'll find it.
I'm searching YouTube after this, but go on.
Go ahead.
We're going to put the link down below.
I'm gonna create an intro for your show daily.
Wonderful point in my life. I quit my 9 to 5. I was a working actress. It was all good. And then the show ended, and I was like, oh, shit, I got to get work. And one of the first jobs I had was Sephora. So when I did Sephora, I wasn't happy, and I was like, okay, I need a change, and that's when I got hip-hop abs. So I started losing weight and changing and eating, and it changes you. And I said, okay, it gave me the strength to say I need to leave, and that's when I started working for Joe's Pub. I left there and started working for, and it was a whole nother world with Joe's Pub, because we all know I love my Joe's Pub, the public theater. So and I went there a smaller person.
Because I was doing Brazil butt lift when we met, and I know they thought something was wrong with me because, like, every time I would show up to rehearsal, I would disappear.
I
remember. I think you came to when I used to go to Creflo's
yes.
First. My brother was like, "That was Carolyn. That ain't Slim Carolyn. What happened to Carolyn?"
It was so funny. I was like, "We've met before." He was like, "Nah, I don't remember. I know you." Like, he was like, "Nah, I would remember." I was like, "Wow, this is great."
It changes your whole. Woo.
I told you I lived in Harlem at the time, and I knew I had lost too much weight because I was walking in the neighborhood, and somebody was like, "Hey yo, yeah, I got some." I'm like, "No, you don't got nothing for me." No. Yeah, just like Whitney told you, crack is whack. Like, no, I do not want that stuff.
You know what's so funny about that is that, what I always tell people, it's such a big, because when you do that for the first time in probably your life, you're prioritizing yourself, because it's the only way to make it through. That's why it's such an unnerving experience in a little bit of a way. It's like totally like, you know, we all got similar stories. Like, we was in a job we didn't like, we was in a position and we didn't like, and we was like, we want to do this to change our lives. And yes, we're showing up every day and we're probably missing out on work and all these different things, but what we get from that is more valuable than because what we wouldn't pay right now to be able to snap right back into that. Listen, we take out the biggest loan.
If they call me today.
Right? If we can get back to and someone's like, "Oh, we got to spend $30,000 to get back to our peak again," realize to get back to that peak with the knowledge I have now, that's everything right there. Yeah. You know? And it's like, I'm going to take it further since y'all brought this up, because I think this is going to be helpful, is that when I look at how I got out of it, right? Like, I remember when you come out of it, you're not around a bunch of people anymore that's their focus, and people like, "Man, you don't eat. You need to eat more." Like, what was your experience of that?
Now, I remember, like, being really, because I was clear that I'm country. Like, I grew up in North Carolina. So I was like, okay, listen, don't play with
me. And Tony's Golden Corral.
He said Golden Corral, yes. And so I was like, I'm always going to be a little thick. Like, it was just my mindset. Like, I'm supposed to be like, how you going to know I'm from the South if I don't got a little extra happening? So afterwards, I was like, I went to try on some pants, and the pants were a size 2, and I could hold it out in the waist. And I was like, whoa, like, I used to joke with my friends. I was like, I got my 6th grade boobs. Like, this is unacceptable. I can't live like this. And so I remember being like, so like the first week off of it, like I worked out a couple of times, and then like I had some pizza. And so like the next week I had pizza and cookies, and I lost 5 pounds. And I was like, I ate pizza and cookies and I lost 5 pounds. Like, I don't know how to stop this. Like, I'm already at a point where I don't want to be smaller than this. And I feel like I'm a little too small, because that's why I was joking. I was telling somebody that my husband will be like, whenever he saw the infomercial, I'm like, yeah, my fiance is like, wow. And he was like, yeah, you played that up quite a bit, because I've known you for a very long time. That's not quite what my wow sounded like. It's wow like, wow, where did the rest of my wife go? And so it was just such a weird experience, because I wasn't working out every day, and I was eating stuff that I hadn't been eating, and I was still losing weight. And so I started to panic, like, I'm gonna disappear. And it sounds ridiculous, but in the moment I was like, I lost 5 pounds this week, and I had cookies and pizza, and I didn't go to the gym this week. And so it was all of a sudden this panic of, because it took me a really long time to start to level out. And it just scared me because it was like, okay, what the heck is happening to my metabolism?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think the adjustment of, and then, you know, I'm country. I explained that. So everybody is like, you need to eat.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Why you not eating? And, you know, we finished around Christmas and Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, we finished like the week after Thanksgiving.
I finished on my birthday. I finished ending my birthday, and that was my reveal. And I stayed off for a while. I stayed pretty good for a while. I did gain some weight back because I started eating, but I started doing other things and getting into yoga pole and different things. I still
was fun.
Not active as what I was when I did it, but I wanted to keep that sexy. Like I wanted this waistline. I wanted to keep this waistline. And because I started working at Joe's Pub, I was a head hostess there, but it's on physical and what you look like, and you know, ooh. And I kept it for a while, but then, like I was telling you before, I have PCOS, and my body started acting weird, and I started getting weight, and then I wasn't consistent in what I ate. I wasn't consistent with the healthy food, so I went back into the bad habits of eating the Pillsbury chocolate cookie dough, and
I think they do a better job now of
I went back.
The nutrition aspect of it, connecting the nutrition aspect of it. Because I think it was like, we didn't really have to focus on that because it was happening for us.
They did for us. We didn't have to do anything.
Yeah. And so afterwards, it was like, okay, we got to figure this out on our own. And it was just like, okay, how many calories do I, like, we didn't learn that stuff in the process. And I think now they do a better job of like, portion control and things like that, so that you can actually do it, because it's like, you mean you want me to?
My experience was, it was good for a bit, and then it just backwards, and then I was like,
look, and then you re-upped and did it again.
Then I re-upped and I did it again. And it was a different experience, and they still gave me food too, but it was just a different experience. And maybe because it was more cardio with the first one than this one. And then, but I did what was it? Last year, closer to my birthday. That's when I said I called that girl that I knew from one of the classes, and she was a coach. Mind you, I was a coach before too, but I just needed needed something. And I started doing B100, and I said, I want to be a certain way before my birthday. And I did, and I was working out every morning. I was doing the same thing that we did in our program. I was getting up at 5-something. I was working out. I was drinking my water. I started getting Shakeology. I did the whole thing, and it started working. It was working. So it could be done on your own. Harder, much harder.
But I think it helps to have done it so that you have the awareness, like, I could do this. Like,
you could do it. You could definitely do it, because that's what I did. And then when my birthday came, and that was only like 2 months before my birthday, I think. And I was like, okay, I got into an outfit that I went and brought a new outfit, and I tried it on. I was like, yeah. It was like, not as small, of course, of what the program did, but I was on that route, you know?
Is that the dating profile picture now?
Oh yeah, my white outfit. I was like, I'm wearing white on my birthday.
It was cute too. It was cute.
Girl,
I was like, okay, she did not come to play with not one of y'all today.
So yeah, that is on the dating app. I have some nice pictures on the dating app. Got my new headshots. That's the one I put my headshot on it.
She put that.
So when you're putting your pictures on the dating app, or you're putting the pictures on to get the guy that you want, or to get the guy that you want?
Oh, wait a second. Okay.
The one that you asking God for, or the one that's like, oh yeah, I used to like
the one I'm asking God for. No, I don't put the raunchy. Woo, woo. No, I don't. I really don't.
Don't pull it back now. Don't pull it back now. Don't pull it back now.
Pictures. Or the only one picture I do have was that, because I like that birthday picture. Birthday picture was good. But other than that, it's like.
So that's the picture. That's the picture that says, "Let's go to Barnes and Noble and talk about politics."
Sorry.
I do. That's what I have. I don't have the.
What that picture?
Only fan page.
Listen,
no,
make a couple of dollars on the side.
Hey, make $1. Hey, be an entrepreneur. Listen. Be an entrepreneur.
I can deduct this.
So yeah, those are the pictures I have. So
one of the things we touched on that I want to address, like in this season, we talked about like, you know, relationships and fitness, but I also want to talk about mental health, because we talked about how all of those things affect that specifically. And so like during lockdown, like I think a lot of, because like for me specifically, I started going to counseling, and it was something I had said I was going to do for years, but I finally decided to do it in lockdown, because it was like the way this anxiety is set up, where the police are just murdering Black people every day, and we're not even allowed to be outside. Like, how are y'all still murdering people every day and we can't go outside? Yeah. So, like, do you want to talk a little bit about like how it's affected? Go for it.
No, I'm saying based on what you said, I think that's a great subject, you know, to kind of bring up. I think it's a stigma in the Black community to seek help. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny, which like we was talking about health, and one of the things Fabs just mentioned, like she got a coach, even though she's a coach. Like Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he had a shooting coach. Tiger Woods, one of the greatest golfers of all time, has a putting coach. You know what I mean? Same thing as Jordan. All of these great, phenomenal athletes, singer, they always have someone to keep them to get better, like to not get to a point where your ego has like, no, I'm good, I'll figure it out. And like within the Black community, it's like, oh, you be fine, you ain't crazy. There's a lot of like, whether you got a Bugatti or a Camry, it doesn't matter how expensive the car is. If you don't got no oil in your car, it's gonna burn out.
You played the Camry really hard just now.
No.
Camry's not a bad car. You
whether you got whether you got a Bugatti or Fiat.
Poor Camry. Ooh, listen, Fiat was very good to you. Don't play out Fiat.
It was very good to me. Fiat was very good to me. Thank you, Lord. I received that. If the Fiat comes back, I take that. Walk me my camera gear.
Yes.
Well, how about this? Whether you got a Bugatti or you got a moped,
yes,
all machinery requires oil. You know what I mean? In the Bible, we call it anointing. And if you don't got that oil, you can run out. And I think like with everything going on, with everything, you look at the news, like we grew up, like I didn't even know growing up in New York that it was illegal for cops to like ask for your ID without probable cause. And the first time I experienced that, I did a video on it. I literally posted on YouTube. It had like 200,000 views because I spent my entire life not knowing that was illegal for cops to kind of just search you. Like, so I'm watching a YouTube video and I see a white guy in like Oregon walking down a block with a 9mm Glock, and I'm like, oh, he gonna get cops they gonna do him in. And he was just like, well, am I a suspect of a crime? Am I this? And they had to let him go. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah, I thought it was pointed out a special fact about that man that.
No, you're right. But here's the thing. What I was saying, that is an important fact. But the very next day, on the way in a full suit on an audition, headed to the city, I remember I'm seeing a black guy being stopped. It was 4 cops on him, and he's like sitting in the waiting room. And I'm just like, how we doing? Like, officer, I just want to know, is this a serious situation? Should I move or relocate? Because I'm like, I see 4 cops on a guy that's just sitting down. And he's like, oh, mind your business. I'm like, what? Like, I'm in this
concerned citizen.
Exactly. I'm concerned. I'm in this confined space. I see 4 people and 1 black man. Like, let me know, is he a threat? And they're like, well, just mind your business. I'm like, well, is he a suspect of a crime? And as soon as I said that language, you saw something click in their head of like, oh, he understands authority. Where sometimes understanding, like, why I always tell people know your rights is so important to know your rights, because in knowing your rights, you can assert authority in some cases. Not all cases there's nothing you was going to do in the George Floyd situation, you know? Yeah. But in certain cases, asserting your authority, being able to say certain things will make people be like, hold on. And I remember the look in their eyes of me being able to say that information. They was like, how does he know about that? You know what I mean? Where like literally they was on pause, and I'm just like, well, if he's not a suspect of a crime, then you can't check him for ID. And like literally was there for like hours arguing. And the situation ended with me having to leave because people was running out of the train station. They kind of try to use that moment to kind of like run towards me. And I'm not playing with no cops with guns. But it's just one of those things where like there's so much things happening to us mentally Like being able to talk to people, being able to, like somebody might be watching this right now and be like, wow, they talked about health, they talked about life, they talk about relationship. Just knowing that you're not alone is such a huge factor. Like I think that's the way that people become weak, when they feel isolated. When you know that this, because we're never alone. You know what I mean? We always know he's there. You know, but sometimes we can get
Because we feel
like, yeah, we be walking on water and we looking down like there's water below us, and we start sinking. And we just got to keep our mind knowing that we got family, we got loved ones, we in this together. You know what I mean? So I'm big on get mental health. You know what I mean? Like I think being an artist, I was a little bit more aware to that. I think that's one of the benefits of us being actors and artists. We kind of a little bit exposed to that because our emotion and our spirit is our instrument. You know, but it's something I tell people now, like get help. Make sure you're talking to someone, checking in on people, because it all connects. Food, relationships, spirit. It's all one thing connected.
And you have to take care of self, and you have to
Yep.
take care of self first. And everything that's happened now is triggering because we're home, we're in the COVID, and we're seeing it on the news and everything, and it's triggering everything. So many, like therapists, they've gone up. People are getting into it that have never thought about it, like yourself, Cass, right?
And I think that a lot of it has to do with it being normalized, like it not being like, because I think people are, because that was the, what was it? It said, prayer, therapy is a strategy. What was it? You were with me. I wrote it down, but I don't have it with me. But it was explaining it. It was just saying that, like prayer is a weapon and therapy is a strategy. I can't remember. I might have them backwards, but it was just explaining that, like, there's so much attached because people are like, no, you need to talk to the Lord. You don't need to tell nobody your business.
Also need the right therapist.
Yeah.
Need the right therapist because I have a family member, bless her soul, needs help. Went to a therapist. The therapist was crap and did worse to her going through that. Tried another therapist, and then that therapist wasn't well either. So for whatever reason, her karma kept finding bad people, and now she doesn't go to therapy, and it's just, she's older now, and it's just like stuck in your ways, and it's scary.
We were talking before about generational stuff, and you wonder if because of the timing, because she's older, if the people weren't equipped, like I think it was such a taboo thing probably during her time to be a Black woman in therapy. It was like, what are you doing here?
She actually did try. I give it to her that she tried it because she's the only one of the family members that, other than myself, you know, but the older generation that actually tried, but it just didn't work out for her. So right now I'm trying to find a new therapist. And the funny thing is, it's like a dating site. So this is really interesting because I went to therapy before and I was referred to the therapist through someone. So I had her. It was wonderful, wonderful experience. I think I changed job and my insurance changed. So my insurance didn't cover her anymore. And time went on, and then now we're going through this, and I'm like, I need to see someone. So I went on the site to try to find, was it Black Girls Therapy?
Therapy for Black girls. Yeah.
Black girl therapy. Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
So I'm on there and I'm going through and I'm like, I like her hair. I like her nails. I was like, wait
guilty. So guilty. Like for years I said I was going to do it, and I found therapy for Black girls, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, wow, I can find
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for me. And I just one, it seemed like a dating site. And two, I'm like, and I get you want to see the people, but it's like, so now I'm really trying to dig deep and see what their specialty is and what, you know, if it matches with what my needs are or whatever. So I'm still in search of a good therapist right now.
I think it's dope that you're searching. You know what I mean? I think that's the beginning of knowing, like, I want that help. That's the biggest thing I tell a lot of people, like, just be open to it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when we go to college, we always learn the hierarchy of needs. Like, I don't know how that's going to be applicable. Yeah, Maslow. You're like, how is this applicable? And you're like, oh, belongingness, shelter. And as you go through life, you see these different things. People want belongingness, shelter, food, and all these parts on the hierarchy of needs. And, you know, if people are in an environment where everybody believes that they don't need a therapist, then they're not going to feel like a therapist can help. And I think
you're not going to make room.
Yeah, you're not going to make room. And truthfully, it's all perspective. Like, especially in Black culture, we always had therapists. We just didn't know that. We use music as therapists. You know what I mean? We use TV as therapists. You know what I mean? What are we doing? We're literally trying to shift our emotions. If we're down, like, let me put some Whitney on. You know what I mean? Let me put, you know, like we are trying to shift our emotions either visually or audio wise. And I'm like, so how do you be opposed to therapy? Because that's what you're doing. It's the therapeutic situation that's occurring when you listen to music. If you're sad, you're not gonna listen to something and be like, be sad for the rest of your life. You're gonna listen to something that's gonna pick you up.
One I am looking for. I did try because I'm also a burlesque artist.
And she's a drag queen.
And I'm a drag. Yes. But I know a lot of people. And one of my close, she's just dear as heart, Perle Noire, and she does a healing session with breath and everything. So she's doing that, but then she said she also has a therapist because she's helping us and letting out of a lot of energies. She has to get herself together and collect her own energy because it's a whole energy field, and you don't want to get bombarded with someone else's energy and it messes with yours. It's a whole thing.
And especially as Black people in this moment, so much stuff is happening that is sucking the energy out of you.
Yes.
Because it's like, you can't continue to experience these things and be like, oh, I'm not affected by this.
Yes.
Oh, I'm fine. Like, this doesn't affect me. No, all of it affects you.
It affects you. So I did 2 of her sessions before. Wonderful. I felt wonderful afterwards. And you write in journals and everything. So she has a therapist that she goes to, and she does dance movement therapy. I haven't tried. I'm going to try it, so I will let you guys know.
That's dope. Yeah.
I'm trying it in the middle of November. I put a date. I think the 18th. I'm going to try it. I think I'm down to 18th.
I think one of the greatest things I ever witnessed when my dad was in the hospital, and I'm sorry, the sun is just not being my friend today.
Yeah.
But whenever my dad was in the hospital, they had musical therapists come. And so it was like young people, that just so happened to be who it was. Young people came and like acoustic guitar and sang songs. And so because my dad had dementia, one of the huge things that like had a positive effect on him was music. And so I remember the musical therapist coming in and she was like, do you mind if I, sing to your dad? And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. Like, thank you so much. And so I sat in a chair behind her and just cried buckets because it was so beautiful. It was like, wow, like you went to school to study, to learn how to, whatever, you may have been gifted to play the instrument, but the way that you used your instrument was in service to people. And so it was just this amazing thing. And she sang My Girl, playing on her acoustic, and it was just like, I was done. But so grateful because it was like, wow, like you made a conscious choice to show up here today and be exactly what we needed. And a lot of times I think we have so many, like I would never go to a musical therapist like prior to that. I would never think of that as a thing. And like the fact that you said about the music being therapy, and like people used to do when I was in college, one of my colleagues was a drama therapist, and they used to work with Sierra Leone rape victims and do drama therapy with them. And so you realize that there's such a huge space for all of us to get healing and to get help. And if we don't talk about those spaces, people won't find the things that they need. So I think a huge part of it is having conversations like this, because it's so beautiful and it's such a powerful thing. And it was designed to be for my dad, but like it was so like healing for me, because it was just like a lot of times.
I'm glad you were there to witness it.
Yeah, because a lot of times in that, you don't really, you're slowly watching someone pass away. And so you don't realize how that's affecting you. So all of the moments that people show up for them and they help them and they do things that you may not be able to do, you just feel like overwhelming sense of gratitude, because it's like, man, I thank God for you because you showed up today and shared your gift, not just with my dad, but with me. And like people, like puppies came in the hospital. Like there's so many
animals coming to children's hospitals, and people who are hospice and different, yeah. And
all of that is therapy.
Because it's therapy.
Well,
Having an animal. And I didn't think about that. And at times, yes, I have my lovely cats, and they get on my nerves, and I yell about them because they're crazy. But I remember bad breakups or going through things, and the animal knowing what you're going through. And I have some crazy mean cats. I have some crazy cats, but they would just jump on my lap and be so passive. So I could just pet them or whatever and cry. They
Connection.
know. They know. So yeah, it all works for all of our highest good, you know?
We all looking for a connection. God said in the Bible, God is love, love is God. You know what I mean? God so created the earth. Love has to create. You know what I mean? Love has to communicate. So I remember one of my best friends is military, you know, like, and his job, he sat in a room all day and he was the ones flying the drone, dropping bombs. Like, so they used to have, this is the first time I learned of happy dogs. You know, and military have happy dogs where they send them into a room for people like him, and they make sure the pets lick their face so they don't get desensitized because they're in a room watching people die. You know, so they have to send in dogs so they can have some type of connection back to life, because then they get lost. And then the value of life is not there. All you're doing is watching people being murdered. It's like you send the dogs in, they look them in the face and get them to play, because people are like literally breaking down. It's their job. They train to do it. They're taken away for 8 months, but still, you know, all that emotion is there. So they bring the dog in to keep them connected to life. You know, and if you're not connected to life, that's what all these different forms of therapy is, to get us connected. Because as soon as we isolate or we like, don't need this, don't need that, you know, I always say this all the time. You can get in a car accident. Not one bone in your body, not one cell, not one muscle be able to move for the rest of your life, and they won't think about pulling the plug. But if every cell, every muscle, every part of your body is working up to 100% capacity, but your brain can't function, you can't communicate, they would think, oh, we should pull the plug. You know what I mean? So what it comes down to with life is, can you communicate? Can you connect? And if you can't do that, it takes the purpose of being here. You know what I mean? It takes away the purpose of being here.
Man, like, I was thinking I did good. We hung out and I didn't cry. And then you want to tell a story about the dogs and
dog licking your face.
Okay, I got it.
I need to pull it back. I already said
well,
I want to check me out. You done ruined my life. Got ready for this. Got me crying on this live. Don't worry. One of these episodes, we're going to get a Jordan meme out you. I'm going to let you live for your first couple episodes.
Listen. We love you. We thank God for you. We thank you for connecting with us today.
Listen, I am so Hey, I'm so thankful to share this space with you. Two beautiful, lovely. I love what you're doing. I love that people are watching this, being healed, being more than entertained, just being connected. And I think you're giving that positive vibes, positive energy. And hopefully you'll have me again.
Yes.
You're welcome back anytime.
Anytime, come on back and bring your libation.
Hey, hey, Sunday. Even if a Monday's a Sunday.
Listen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Because I didn't call you by any random nicknames the whole time.
You did a great job. I'm proud of you.
Straight government the whole time.
Straight government. I'm proud of you. I'm proud.
Oh, y'all are so dope. I am so grateful to share the space with y'all.
This was wonderful.
Yeah.
So bye, guys. I'm sorry. We have to we're wrapping up. So bye, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in at Kaz and Fab's Brunch Break. Thank you so much, Kamal, for being our guest. You will be back. You'll be saying more of him. Don't worry, because I got more questions. Because I'm so good.
Yeah. And I want to hear updates. So
I'm supposed to talk to somebody tonight, so I'll let you know. Anyway.
I know about that.
But bye, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy.